it will contain both a conditional use permit application and a variance application, which just kind of further supports the need for that. So that was the primary issue that I saw with this. Having said that, I haven't read the public comment yet either, so I don't know what folks are concerned
about. To speak to that point, I don't remember if it was Brandon or Cody. Was Cody?
Right.
Oh, okay. Brandon with LR and Cody with Union, but I ran across some emails back and forth between Tess and Dennis and one of those two saying, well, we don't think a variance is required.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate guidance because it's inaccurate, I think. I mean, we can look at I can think of one specifically, Barger Tower in September of 2022 was exactly this scenario. And we did do a variant. We did a variance application for that as well. There might be others too, but that one came to mind. Similar, it was in, I think, RR10 or RR5. Whereas the one that's Union is in A1, maximum building height 60 feet, tower 50 feet. We don't run into that issue.
Oh, and that would have been the last one that we did up Merna too. It was in an A1. I was trying to remember if there was a variance with that, but it was put in an A1, so there wouldn't have been.
My question is, okay, so how difficult is it for them to submit a variance now?
Yeah, well, that's an option that's on the table. As a board, we could request that they come back next month with the variance application included as part of their application. We have the ability to do that. We could request that.
Say that's fair. If that's going to stop the process, I think requesting that they do a variance to support their additional height, I think is a fair task, and that they come back and we approve it for them. So far, everything they've wanted to do has been, I did not read the public comments, didn't get that either, but on their application, I mean, it was thorough. There's no impact in any regard. It doesn't look to me like, aesthetically, groundwater-wise, traffic-wise.
Yeah, well, I think some neighbors might argue differently as far as visiting goes. We got that too. We have to look at. That's always the rub, and how to balance that
service versus aesthetics.
And I mentioned this in an email, but should I ask permission to speak? I don't. Go ahead. Okay. It's my understanding that we have 90 days from the date it was submitted. Correct. There is a time frame to which we have to approve or deny, right? Would the variance fit within that 90-day period, or would we just ask for that prior to the commission?
I don't think we would run into any problems related to timeline. Like we have the ability in the regulations that's given to us to request, and table is not the right word, but I'm going to say it because it's the one that comes to mind. Table it until the next meeting.
Well, if I might, I mean, if it's a foregone conclusion that you will accept the variance, I mean, is it possible to say if they, complete the application thoroughly and pay their $75? It's just, it throws off, now we would have to re-advertise for the county commissioners because it won't go to them.
Right.
I'm just kind of thinking how that's going to.
That is the other thought that came to mind too. Is really, and I wanted to look here before this meeting, but from memory, the criteria for us to judge a variance is pretty. It's not like a conditional use permit. It's not like anything else. Variances are. pretty low bar. And if that's the case, what we might do, another option on the table is to approve a condition upon maybe, I don't know if we can do this, Alan or Haley, maybe you know, but we approved a condition on then getting a variance application. I guess that can happen. I don't know.
I think that's one thing I'm curious about, just going back to what Alan was saying too, as far as accepting the variance. Just knowing that if additional questions come up in the next meeting, careful of how you address that. If you are approving it tonight conditionally on a variance and then more questions come up next meeting.
Mm-hmm. Because I think, one thing I definitely give sympathy to the fact that they were possibly led astray if they weren't told previously that they needed to have it. And I know that these are time consuming things, getting permits and following through with the process. And so if they were misled from the start from our office,
it's unfortunate, but I don't think that means that, we don't have to follow.
right,
rules.
right, correct.
Actually, let me correct myself real quick. There are variance standards. There actually are more than I had remembered. So there's I won't read them all. There's 4 and then 3 subparts, but there is a level of diligence I had not remembered that maybe would make that problematic to not ask them to come back. And Alan, I think if we tabled it and we asked for a variance application before our next meeting, would we really have to if we've done that for other meetings, if it's old business?
Yeah. No.
Could we handle it that way?
If it was old business, we're just completing this application and
So we shouldn't
first
have.
order of business as old business next meeting.
Mhm.
No, it's just that they were set to go before the commissioners
Right.
but that's not the end.
Mhm.
I would be willing to, I think, just double checking on that as well,
Mhm.
to make sure we follow the full variance process correctly.
Yeah, I was just looking. I don't see. Yeah, because we have different notice language in different parts of the regulations, and variances doesn't have anything specific about that. So I don't think we'd be violating anything if we did that.
So what are our thoughts? That we're going to table this and ask them to go back and get fill out a variance application and resubmit?
Or the second, permission to speak?
Yes, go ahead.
The second option is to approve it with the condition of a variance. Correct?
We could. That may be more time and hassle for them because then it would be. What do you got?
Approve it on the condition that variances are approved by the county commissioners.
Well, the problem with that is that our regulations say that we have to make the recommendation to the county commissioners. So I think we would fall out of alignment with our regulations in that case. But that's what I was thinking originally. But I don't think that works technically. If we do what you're suggesting, then they do have to come back, file another application. It has to be noticed. There has to be a meeting. That might put them out 2 or 3 months. I think if we tabled it and said, if you came back with a variance application that we'll consider with this conditional use permit, and we'll consider it as old business, then we can tackle it in September, as opposed to then having to wait until October or November.
Okay, I support that then.
That seems reasonable. I am curious too, though, as far as, aside from the variance, are there any other technical things regarding the actual application that once this discussion happens, it might impact the variance before making that
That's a
call?
good question. Well, if there are members of the public here tonight that wrote letters or otherwise, it'd be good to hear people's concerns or thoughts.
Okay, so let's let's move forward and go ahead and hear from the applicant. And then we will hear from anybody in the public that has any comments. And then we'll move forward from there. Does that sound okay? Would you like to come up and say anything, sir? And if you don't mind, and anybody that comes up to talk, if you will please state your name, just so that it's on the recording and people that's online can hear.
My name is Brendan Kidney.
Yeah, I think.
That one doesn't need to turn on.
Oh, you're good.
My name is Brendan Kidney. I'm the operations manager for LR Communications. And my project here is for a 50-foot communication tower stick built on a 10 by 10 foundation. This will bring high-speed internet communications to a rural area. It's kind of the creativity behind it. Did you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
I don't know if it's, oh, shoot. Hi, I am just curious, what type, you say you're providing internet,
Mhm.
to what range?
What do you mean, what range?
How many folks are going to be able to receive this?
Probably a fairly small number, especially up in that community. We have ranges up to 5 miles. And that's why we're not further down. We've already got communication towers in Daniel in that area. So we're just trying to bring faster speeds. The landowner up there is actually the owner of the company, Lance Louder. So it's more of a passion for him to bring it to those neighbors up there that have talked to him.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about, is this part of the grant funding that was available to the various providers, or is this okay?
No, we're locally owned and we don't take any grants from the federal government or anything like that.
Okay. And can you tell us the aesthetics of the tower? Is it going to be painted a certain color? Can you tell us a little bit about
I actually have a picture right here. I don't know if it was included with what you guys seen. If you'd like to look at that, this is what the finished structure would look like.
So it'll look exactly like that?
Yes. 100% solar driven.
And can you talk about the capacity to support co-location or not, or anything along those lines?
How do you mean in that regard? Have we looked at co-location in the area?
Would this tower be able to support co-location?
Absolutely.
And are there any plans for that, or?
We don't currently have any plans for that at the moment, but it's definitely something we could expand upon.
Okay. And how much, like, how many additional, I don't know what the right terminology is, but how many additional communication devices could you support on that tower?
Depending on what the height they're looking for, several. Our purposes are only in general to expand the ability to bring in faster speeds. Right now, we can only support 100 by 20 out there.
Mm-hmm.
But with this new addition, we could support 1,000 by 1,000, which is a gig over a gig.
Wow. I was thinking 100 by 20 sounded great.
It's not bad.
Okay, so this will be able to do a gig up and down.
Yes, correct.
And is it like, is it microwave to the?
It's
folks in
60
the-
gig. 60 gig wave technology is what it's called.
Okay.
I'd like Chairman to ask, is your constraint size or weight of the equipment when you start looking at?
We're a line of sight internet service provider, so our restriction is really on the height. That's why we're shooting for 50 feet. The higher we can get, the more clients that can see our tower is the more clients we can connect. We are very much restricted by height. We have to have line of sight for good communication.
But if you were to get a request for somebody who wanted to put another piece of equipment on that.
Right, it could technically be a lot lower. Right, especially if they dug lines into it, which is something we'd rather avoid. We don't like the aesthetic of trenching. That's why we went with wireless internet service technology.
Yeah, and again, we're not judging this application or the other one based on our draft regulations, but I'll say a lot of the conversation that has happened around towers in the past, which it's been a while since we had there was a period in which we were doing a lot of tower stuff, but and Alan will remember this, co-location was a big deal, aesthetics, we've had historically providers have not wanted to co-locate, and in our draft regulations, there was a move towards making it a requirement, co-location capabilities. Now, if there were some specialized reason that someone couldn't co-locate, then obviously that'd be considered. But I'll just say that seemed to be a push that we heard a lot from the public. And at the time, board members were interested in trying to get providers to cooperate so we didn't just have towers littered. We were 10 towers where we could have 2 or something.
When you say co-locate, can you tell me what that means?
Just multiple providers using the same tower to be able to, so LR and Union share a tower.
Gotcha.
Maybe LR leases out space to Union to be able to.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood what you were saying. Yep.
I was curious as far as the deciding factor of the location and making sure to be like the optimal location for the area. Is this the optimal location of the tower location to reach the optimal number of people in this area? It looks like it's pretty central to the other properties. I'm just curious the evaluation.
It does. From the location that I've seen, I haven't personally been to the property itself. But the landowner does recognize the fact that it's got great line of sight from multiple directions. So that was definitely a factor in deciding that he wanted this tower there.
Is it on the top of the hill there? Sorry, I'm trying to picture. It is, right? That ridge line just runs like right along there, doesn't it? Okay.
Is there any other towers in that area within like 15 miles? Do you know?
I believe there's one on the.
One of the state section, I think.
Yeah, on the school section.
Do you know where it would be on there? While you're there, let's look at the fire.
All right.
Because when you look at the topography, it is like the highest point
Mhm.
until you go further north, I think.
So. I
Yeah.
assume that other tower's over here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
The Kismet Tower, is that what you're talking about?
I just have one of the,
Because there's the Kismet Tower, which is like the main, but it's quite a ways over. It's further into
Is it?
like Hobacker Ranches. Yeah,
It's off Bolt's Drive.
there you go. Thank you.
Bolt's Drive,
Bolt's Drive.
which is on the other side of the Merna Beaver Road.
oh, so they're on this section. Up here?
I don't remember seeing one up there.
It'd be further north. We're saying on the Merna Beaver.
Yeah, but
This
further back.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be on the edge of the northern side of that.
So it's too far
There's
Okay.
still
away.
a school section on there.
Yeah, this is the school section here.
Okay.
Because you can see Kismet from the highway when you're on top of the rim.
There's,
Oh,
well,
this?
down,
Oh, that,
yeah,
yeah, I don't,
that's what it is.
yeah. I recall that
Is there a
out
Union?
decades ago. Or, I mean,
I'm personally not familiar with
He's like, I have no idea.
I don't
But
want to be
that
involved.
still looks like it's a ways away from the proposed
Yeah.
site. There's no towers
It's significantly.
close.
Mhm.
We don't even, that's not the school section. The school section that he's pointing out is significant.
I was
Oh,
just
like
wondering
this one
for
up
line
here?
of sight.
Yeah.
Maybe that one.
No, actually, it's even further. The borders BLM,
Okay.
so there'll be a bunch of yellow around.
Are you saying that what I said is wrong?
No, I think this is the one you were, the one, I think we were just pointing at the wrong one. What you're saying is absolutely right.
And there is a Union Tower there that was just put there recently.
There is. Yeah. On Kismet.
Not on Kismet,
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Which one were you referring to?
on the state section that I just pointed out.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was misunderstood what you're talking about.
It's okay.
What was the road again? Bolts.
Yeah, you can see it. It's vertical right there.
Oh, I
And
do.
then that state
Yeah.
section that's to the left there.
So it's fairly.
You get the command way more than me. So,
Okay, does any of the commissioners have any other questions for the applicant?
So I guess that just to play off of Tammy's question earlier, like, so that, I mean, one of the things that always comes up around the towers is I'm always curious, how are we deciding how, you know, if the cost of this is folks' concerns around the visual aesthetics and putting a lot of towers all over the place, we need to have an understanding of the public benefit that we bring. So here we say, okay, it's not serving that many people. It sounds like it could be sort of a pet project of the owner of the company because he's going to put a tower there on his own property. I guess I always love to know, like, what's the information behind what's the public benefit? How can we have an understanding, some quantitative understanding of that so that we can measure that against people's concerns around the.
That's a good question. Anything within 5 miles. That's our range. So if we have line of sight with anything.
Line of sight within 5 miles.
Is going to be a potential customer that can benefit from the high speed.
And do you have any idea how many, like roughly how many folks that is?
I don't, sorry.
And was this driven by like people saying I'm in this area and I don't have access to internet and.
Right. Mostly, yeah, we're very word of mouth. And that's how this project kind of came up, was that he had residents living around him that were asking about his services and getting them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
You know, I'm thinking of one.
I know.
I guess I just want to know how you would address some of the concerns about having a 50-foot tower in people's backyards for the visual. Because it's not very appealing. And so what do you, I mean, what things can you do to?
That's why we try to keep the profile of our tower a little bit smaller, stick built. We're not putting up a giant tower, right? It's very vertical, symmetrical looking. It's very clean looking. And once mounted with radios, it's silent. There's no pollutants that are going to be caused by it. No noise generated from it. Aesthetically, I can't really make it look prettier than what it is. So
It's the story of my life. That's the best you got.
This is what you got.
Sorry.
Well, I was just curious because some of the towers that are around our house, they're very reflective.
Right.
And I can't even imagine being one right next door to me.
one thing I can add is that we would have no problem putting a 6-foot fence around it to block the solar. So the only thing visible would be the top of the tower.
And I think where you're locating it is somewhat behind this gentleman's residence, behind this building.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so now, since I think we have some folks here that came here specifically for this, so we'll go ahead and let them speak at this time, and then we'll see if we have any other questions. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So is there anyone in the room that has any questions or comments in regards to just this specific, the LR Communications application right now? Sir? Oh, yes, sir, please. Or we can, you know what? We can bring a microphone to you. No, you're good. We can bring it to you. Yes, definitely. So if you don't mind, sir, if you can just state your name and then you go right ahead. Yes.
My name's Steve Hetzel. I've been a year-round resident of Jim Bridger. I use Lance's service, and it's a good deal. You know, it's faster than what I had before. But what I had before was a satellite, company, and that's available to everybody up there. It took a little long to get a technician when I needed one, and that's the only reason I switched over. My questions are, what is the definition of a public facility in county regulations?
There's none. Oh, sorry.
Well, no, I think
There is.
But it's
It's
very,
ambiguous. at
it's very
best.
vague.
I've read it. Yeah.
So you're correct, sir. And this is something, so we have been going through a very long process of reviewing our regulations for the county. And that has been one that has came up multiple times, is along with several other things, but that specifically is one of the things. Is that what is the definition? Because the definition as it stands right now is pretty vague.
And really, I don't see anything in it, that would cover this.
Right. And I think that's the thing that we're seeing is, especially the more that technology advances, we're finding things like this that aren't being covered in the current regulations. And so we completely understand your concern with that, and because it has been a concern of ours too. But unfortunately, like right now, all we have to work with is what is currently in place. So
Which
I know
is
that
insufficient,
it
so
isn't-
it needs to become sufficient before we decide this, I would think.
Well, unfortunately, though, we can't put off all applications due to just the fact that there are some insufficient regulations. Because like I said, this has been a process that's been ongoing for 5 years now, I think 5 or 6 years now. So, and it all falls back, it will end up going to the Board of County Commissioners. And so we truthfully are trying to be diligent and work on it and get it to something that is acceptable. But as of right now, we just have to currently work with what the current regulations are.
So you can approve it, without a definition. I'm just asking, I'm new to all this.
She's saying there is one, but it's ambiguous and vague. It's not that.
Well, then is it really a definition if it's ambiguous and vague?
Well,
Let's see what it is.
Chairman, I think just by custom and practice over the last 5 years, this has been the form in which we've taken the square peg and tried to fit it in the right.
And so you're just going to keep doing that?
Well, there's been progress, but boy, it's slow when it comes to. the right.
Well, then slow is fine. My other question, who got the letters, announcing that this was going to happen, and how do you decide who gets the letters?
I actually can answer that. Oh, yeah. So let me see, okay. And it's pronounced Lauder. There were 70 parcels within 2,640 feet with 68 different owners.
Is there a template that you put over it?
Tess was able to draw a little circle.
Okay,
Using
Yep.
the tool on the GSI, and it generates this list.
okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay,
And the regulations say we only have to go 1,000 feet. So
Okay.
sometimes it seems to be, if I'd be inclined to just do 1,000 feet. Like if you do more or less, your senior's doing something.
I'll accept that. Sure. Yeah, I was just wondering, but I'll accept that. If that's something that's clear, then I have not a problem with it. Just the unclear stuff.
So,
Okay.
68 different owners.
Okay, and then you guys pretty much talked about why not on the state section, by the existing cell tower. And the fact that no one here, not even this gentleman here, has been to the site. How can you decide, if you have no idea what it looks like? It's a treeless ridge line, and
To correct you, sir, I'm very familiar. I live up Horse Creek. So
Okay.
I am. I just wanted to make sure I was thinking of the exact lot that it was at, but I
Right.
am very familiar
Okay.
with that area. Just
yeah,
to
so
let
it
you know.
is going to stick out like a sore thumb. I got used to a lot of things up there, believe me. And then my other question, I guess, was, that, because Alan is by himself, I talked to him on the phone yesterday, and gosh, great guy, and well-meaning, there's no doubt about in my mind, but, I was gonna suggest that it get tabled for a month until someone can look at it, or find out what exactly a public facility is. Let's get this out of the way, and define these things so, we can prove them or not with some kind of basis of formality. And let's see, and Lance doesn't live there. I know Lance, and like I said, I've used his service. I was friends with his father. But, it does kind of sound like a pet project to me, because he owns the land and, he's going to try to do that rather than pay rent, on the school section or where they have to do, so I was just worried that, why not combine it with the other tower? And if you look at that other tower, that I believe is a Union Tower, boy, 5 miles is going to get you a lot more customers, from that point. And so I don't know if Union's going to allow that or not, or if it's any benefit to them, or they can just say no. But, line of sight from that 50-foot tower, the new one, is not going to reach over onto Seams Road. It's not going to reach a lot of folks, that the other tower does. So I just don't understand. I just think he's trying to save money by putting it on his property. And, maybe he'll get less customers, but he's not paying out. I don't know what they have to pay out to be on a school section. But anyway, those are my concerns. And mostly it's the definition that I just think needs to be addressed at some point. Otherwise anybody can just say, I got a public facility here, because there's no definition of it. I mean, does that not make sense? And I know it's a tedious deal, that you guys all have to do, and but it's got to be done, before you can have law and order. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. So, I appreciate all your hard work.
Great, thank you, sir. Sir?
My name is Ian Bryant. I'm fairly new to the Jim Bridger Estates. I'm at 12 Beaver Ridge Circle, which is just about 1.5 to 2 lots east and north. I'm right next to this proposed tower. If I look straight west, I get to look at the Wyoming range, and this is going to be right in my sight lines. So if to say that this is not going to have any aesthetic disadvantages is quite untrue. 50 feet, as he was mentioning, on what is almost the same height as Beaver Ridge Road, which is the ridge. This site is almost the same height. Everyone to the east is going to be looking at that when they look back west. So there is a very large aesthetic inconvenience. I wanted to add to that my question of who this is for. There are so few people up there, especially full time, with so many other options for internet, Starlink, HughesNet, cellular. There is cell service up there. Who's this for? That I don't see why, with so few people, that building this structure is going to provide so much advantage when there are so many other options out on the market right now, with its disadvantages that are very clear. And again, I was actually kind of set back earlier when I was just disclosed that the owner is putting this on his own property, which is kind of a big red flag in my eyes. So I highly disapprove of this. I hope that you all would make the right decision for those that live up there, that this is not something that is absolutely mandatory and necessary. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
My name's Chad Mitchell, just a citizen of Pinedale. I don't live in the area. I wouldn't see the tower. I am a reader of code. I used to be the planning and zoning administrator for the town. So code matters to me, the words that we have in place. I think there's great efforts being made to try and revise that code. I think it's necessary. As you stated, Madam Chairman, things progress and the world progresses. So there's reasons to update code. I do not agree with the fact that public facilities isn't defined or that it's ambiguous. It's defined, it's in your section 6, it's under definitions. It's not very extensive, but it is not ambiguous. Public facilities are all government buildings, schools, houses of worship, hospitals, nursing homes, libraries, daycare centers, parks, and other similar public or quasi-public uses. So it's defined. It's not very extensive, but it's by no means ambiguous. You defined, or people before us and you defined what a public facility is. That's what it is. My other question is, I can't find anywhere that correlates with Mr. Lasnik's requirement to have a variance along with the conditional use permit, other than in the suggested revised chapter 15 code. That's definitely in there. I can't find that a variance is required with the conditional use permit on a height restriction in the code as it currently stated. I'm wondering if someone can point that out.
I can speak to that if you want.
Please.
I mean, so variances for structures that exceed maximum building heights, variances are required. This exceeds a maximum building height, so thus a variance is required. I would also say that precedent of this board has been that variances are required in this exact circumstance.
Looking for that.
38
variance
is the
for
height
height.
minimum. Maximum building height, structure.
He said page 17.
Oh.
Page 17 is the definition.
That's the definition.
Yeah, you know, as far as public facilities, I don't recall when that started, but I don't know if you think quasi-public uses, was that? I mean, I don't know what quasi-public.
Guys want to show it
You put there figuring it.
Yeah.
I just thought because it's under CUP.
That can be the only,
The quasi similar to a church or school facility, daycare center, tower.
no, it's just the
That's what
last,
you guys.
it's just the last, yeah, I think it would just be the last clause for public use. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate you.
I was curious too, typically, I don't know if you know the answer to this, I don't right now, but do towers have to receive, do they also get a building permit if they're approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we get our kickbacks from the assessor.
Okay.
Just kidding, for the record.
No, it was way too serious for nice, Alan.
Asking too about the variance, how it falls under that variance process, because then it is part of the building permit process as well.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, you know, if we want to get down to the letter of the law of our regulations here, it doesn't even fit. I mean, if we wanted to be very technical about this in the language, it says the authority to grant variances is intended to resolve non-self-inflicted practical difficulties or physical hardships resulting from the size, shape, or dimensions of a site, or from topographic or physical conditions on a site, or in the immediate vicinity of a site. So this is where, you know, someone has an oddly shaped lot and they really need a setback because they can't do anything with it and it's no fault of their own. That's where we've done variances before. Frankly, this would be considered self-inflicted and would not be available for a variance. Frankly, we've treated it, I think, with a fairly large degree of latitude because of precedent across the country around requirements. If requirements is the right word, at least case law, where towers have been granted a large degree of latitude by the courts. Lots of counties who have rejected towers have been told that they have to allow them for a variety of reasons. And that I think that guidance from Clayton along those lines is what has led us down this path. So, I mean, really a variance, we shouldn't even allow a 50-foot structure if it's not self-inflicted. I mean, it doesn't meet the definition of how you would use a variance. So if we want to get real technical about it, we should be denying this application based on that, period.
And there should be no structure in the county over 35 feet.
Well, no, not in the county. It's in RR10. In ag, you can have a 60-foot.
Oh, 60 is it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And gotcha, this definition of a variance and 100% isn't self-inflicted. So it's like if you do need a variance for this, it's a real difficult no doubt.
Right. So neither public facilities nor variances meet this. And when I came into the board, this is how towers were being handled. And so I went with it, but I don't know. I don't know what Clayton would advise. Is anybody here from Clayton's office? No.
Well, if I might,
Please.
at our next agenda is a request for a 150-foot tower. Down in Big
I
Piney.
thought it was a 50-foot tower.
No, in Big Piney next
Oh, on next month.
Next month.
next month. Near the water tower. I guess it's gotten packed full. If you look at that water tower in Piney.
Yeah.
Delays all over. They want to put something 150 feet across the road. So by that variance, even it's on A1. That
A1.
road is on A1, but we would have to say nothing over 60 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know what it is.
If I might. Would he accept a 30-foot? I mean, would he? Yeah.
It'd be reasonable to go down in.
Well, that could be a mechanism to do this tonight. If it's 30 feet, there's no variance needed. It could be considered.
Yeah, unless it is for the neighbors.
You know, if it's allowed, you know, then, you know, I'm okay. You know, I mean, I get used to a lot of stuff up there since I've been there, you know. And I said, I do use the service, and there is something there now, you know, that until recently was kind of an eyesore. It's been cleaned up a bunch recently.
Our towers, is that an accepted use in residential or it's a conditional use? Like,
Our
is that,
towers?
yeah.
Wow.
Public facilities are.
Well, when did towers fall under public facility? Is that just how it's been
It's just
done?
how it's been handled.
Yeah.
Historically, there's not, the word tower, I don't think even shows up in our current regulations.
Yeah.
It does
I-
look
Where-
One time,
Oh, I didn't.
so once,
under airfields.
right?
Oh, yes.
Constructed airfield.
I just kind of, from my understanding, and I'm not an expert in this, but this is not considered a utility at this point. It's more of a service because we do have more in the code about utilities. Is that right?
Well, I think years ago, struggled to find a place, you know, because there's, and I suspect even the new regulations would permit towers in rural residential areas. They want a big limit to just A1, so I think we looked for something that was a conditional use in just about every zoning district. Which was public facility.
I'm just trying to think of a tower in residential and I can't think of.
Is there a tower in a residential area?
Plenty of them.
I know there's one up here,
Well,
the
in
cell
Barger,
tower.
that one was.
Yeah.
Big Piney has one right in the subdivision,
The county has one right now.
and you don't even,
Yeah, and I
Don't
think
even-
Don't public towers allow for public access? This is a private service
Well,
that you have to be subscribed to their service to benefit from that tower.
Well, public use, you know, so yeah, it's a poor fit.
public would be a tower that multiple cell providers and this service and other people and everyone else could attach service to so that everyone benefited.
Well, I guess in theory, quasi-public use means that's use for the benefit of the public, perhaps a commercial action, not owned by.
Profit.
And also, that's the public negative way too. This seems to outweigh even a 30-foot one. What's the height on the one that you have there now?
It's 30 foot.
It is.
Sorry, where?
It's just a utility.
Where is the 30-foot one?
On this side.
On this property now, and that's what I get my signal on.
Okay, is there any other public comment in the room or questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments online?
Is there anybody on?
Yeah, Mike Crossan and guest SCMPM. And Alan.
Oh, do I need to stop sharing?
No, you're good. I'm just saying if anybody's raising their hand.
I don't see any.
There would be like.
I don't see any
you would
hands.
see like
Okay,
a hand raised symbol.
right here, I just see these being.
There
Yeah.
would be a little hand raised.
I don't see anything up here. Any hands raised.
You need to go.
Okay, so if there's no more further public comment, I guess we need to hash out which direction we want to go with this. Or first of all, are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners to start?
I'll say, I mean, I like the compromise of a 30-foot. The downside of that is it serves less people, right? I mean, you have 20-foot less reach, so, but I think, yeah, the real benefit here is the public benefit, and internet is great, and we know it brings a lot of economic, benefits to the communities that it serves. So I'm largely in favor of bringing better internet to the county. But I think if we're going by the letter of the law of our regulations, we would have to do some sidestepping that may not be wise in order to do a 50-foot tower here.
If I might, Madam Chair, do I understand then it could be 20 feet shorter, but being on the ridge, it would only have a marginal decrease in, number of people served?
Yes, that's correct. We get higher up on the grid. It's the higher tech.
But that 20 feet higher would earn you, 200% more subscriptions to your service.
Right.
There's one person that can be added by 20 more feet. Can't see it in my head.
I don't know enough about.
And that's my issue. I'm juggling. I'm juggling with, is the other tower that it's already in existence enough? And that's what I don't know. I don't know if it's enough. And without that information, it makes it really difficult to try to make a decision.
And to be frank, I think whatever we end up adopting in the future will face the same question. Applicants will make an assertion that there's a demand for this, and will be hard pressed to argue persuasively that there's not.
And I don't know that. Do we? We don't know that.
No, we don't.
Because I asked that of you earlier yesterday. Do we have a quantitative idea of what some of the cell towers around the area are and what they provide?
I would like to say there are some things I do like about this. For one thing, sir, I know that you mentioned that there are other internet suppliers out there, and I completely recognize and appreciate that. But I also appreciate supporting local small business. I totally understand where you're coming from and I don't disagree with you. But I also am a huge advocate of local small businesses. I know that the gentleman that owns LR has done a great job of bringing internet to a lot of Sublette County. So I just wanted to mention that I do really appreciate and support local business for sure. Another thing that my thoughts are too is that although it's slowed from what it used to, Jim Bridger Estates they were selling lots very quickly up there for a while. But there's still a lot of vacant lots up there. And I think that there's still going to be a lot of people that move in there. And so I think that it is something that is important to address is good service, good internet service up there. And I recognize that the gentleman that owns LR is, in my perspective, he's trying to be a good neighbor and provide a good service for his neighbors that are around there. You may disagree with the way he's going about it, but I recognize and appreciate his intent because, it's a long ways up there from town for much of anything. And so, like I said, I do applaud his intent in that for sure. So I guess we need to decide though how we want to proceed with this because we have several aspects.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead, sir.
So is a business even allowed? Local business in the subdivision? I support local businesses all I can do, and I them support our Lance's, but if you're gonna use that, it's really supposed to be a business. In Bridger's subdivision.
But it's not that he's not running his business from that location. Like there's not technically a business, right? I understand what you're saying, sir, completely. But I wouldn't consider it that he's running a business out of there.
That was my question though too, because we have, accepted and conditional home businesses in residential. So while he's not operating a business from there, is it it's a commercial application, obviously. That's why I'm wondering if there's other, like the Mountain Man Museum and the one next door on Alexander's neither of those are residential. I couldn't think of a tower off the top of my head other than you mentioned one in Big Piney that is in residential. And I was just wondering, I feel much like you do. We all know, you're probably all surprised to hear me, being conflicted about something on private property, but I do respect, residential neighborhoods and having a commercial application. I'm just wondering why we don't have something, or if it's not accepted that we need to have something. I don't know if I articulated that very well.
I was going to ask if you could explain more because I'm not sure I'm following.
I guess I'm just concerned that we don't have something that either allows or disallows towers as a commercial application. If it was, me personally, I don't know, I have a ham radio or something and I put up a 30-foot tower, then fine. But if I'm putting up a commercial tower to sell services to people, that's a commercial application in a residential neighborhood? And is that an accepted use in residential or not? Or a conditional use in residential?
It's a conditional use. Now it's a conditional.
It is.
use in residential.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Well, public facility.
A public facility.
He's
Yeah.
saying commercial business, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not a commercial, but a quasi public.
Oh, that's,
Quasi.
yeah. I mean, we read the list and it's not a school or a church or whatever.
I think it could be to the detriment of many subdivisions, though, if you did not permit it. I mean, there's one right smack in the middle of Barger, at the bus pull out there. I think that's only there because it happened to be county ground, but in all respects.
Sure. But there's also there's a tower on a state section next to a subdivision. I guess
Have you guys explored at all, co-sharing the Union Tower? To the west of there? Mm-hmm.
Wasn't aware of it. Definitely something.
I guess I have a question of, I don't understand, or maybe you can clarify the problem of somebody donating private land for a tower put in for public use for the residents, and considering the, the growing, considering in years to come, there will be more. I don't understand why that is a problem. I understand the aesthetics. No, I do. I just, if it's his land, and it's not just to service him, it's to service surrounding areas. You don't like the 50-foot tower? Is the 50-foot or the close to proximity to your residence?
Add-ons to it, dishes, it's a foot in the door that shouldn't be there without, some sort of regulation to back it up. It's just what I'm saying, there's no basis to allow this. All about law and order and rules and regulations. I nickel for every time someone calls me for the rules, These feeds, internet.
I wonder, it sounds like there's a couple of things to explore, and I don't know, sir, like if you have the authority to make any decision tonight, or if you need to go back and confer with Mr. Louder or what, but it sounds like there's a couple of things to explore. One is the prospect of a 30-foot tower instead, although if that were the case, we could discuss, voting on that tonight. The other is the prospect of co-locating a tower, in which case you don't need to come before us at all, right? That's just an agreement between you and Union or whoever's tower it is. But those seem like two options on the table tonight. We could table it tonight and give this gentleman the time to make some decisions if he so chooses. I think he would have to. I think we can't. No, that's not true. We could table it. It's in our bylaws. So that's an option, but I think we want to. I love that the public came here to talk tonight. I think it would be good. It's great that both the applicant and the public are here to talk about ways that we can address the concerns. It's a challenging one.
It is a challenging one.
I myself, I'm not tabling yet. I didn't realize where it was, and so I haven't had the opportunity, like this gentleman stated, to go out there and take a look. It's hard when you only get things a couple days before.
Yeah, I know. Look at that, 7.
So, sir, what are your thoughts in regards to if we tabled this? Because I'm assuming, I guess I don't know how much decision-making ability you have. I don't want to take anything away from you.
Actually, when we originally applied, I was working with Dennis Bornstrom, and we were just trying to make a 30-foot tall tower.
Mm-hmm.
He said that because it was 30 foot at that mark, we would have to apply for a conditional use permit, so we figured we might as well go. So a 30-foot tower would be fine. There is a utility pole that already exists that serves that area with lower speeds. We're barely trying to make it something substantial so that we can put better radios on there with better stability.
So essentially, that's why you need to build the new tower, is because the one that's existing won't accommodate.
It's not stable enough with
That's-
the wind speeds out there.
Wind doesn't blow up there.
What's the speed difference? What do you get now up there,
This is 100 down and, you know,
right?
we're looking at a gig, so 1,000 by 1,000.
Right.
So
That's
10x
pretty substantial. Yeah,
improvement.
it's
Substantial.
substantial. Yeah, I want that.
And the new radios are actually smaller. For faster speeds, of course. We also began offering a wide gauge tier 0 for 99, which is 100.
It's worth clarifying, but I think I just wanted to go back on my previous comments and clarify that it's not that I don't support towers in residential. My concern is that we don't have anything allowing for that sort of commercial use, if that's what it is. Because to me, it's not a public facility. I would just like to have something where we could say, like, yeah, this meets the criteria for a commercial use in residential or in whatever type of zoning.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there are, you know, the reason we put things in different zoning districts, there is a reason that we put things in different zoning districts and that commercial is not residential and so on and so forth. So I think that's, and I would say that, you know, we are not bound, like there is precedent, I think, you know, and that's obviously important. I think though we now have new staff and a new board, and precedent cannot bind us to continue to make, I mean, this is what Clayton has advised us in the past, because we've asked that question. Do we have, if the decision is a wrong decision and somebody has made it, doesn't mean we're forever bound to make that same decision. And the answer was no, that a new board, and I think in this case, new staff. I mean, I think when I came in, I was like, okay, this is the way we do things. And it was, I'm going to go along with that. But I do think, you know, the gentleman, I can't remember his name, but the former Pinedale planner made some valid points about our regs actually don't support this. And I think that's what Chase is saying as well. So challenging.
Well, if I might,
Mhm.
Chairman, I mean, it would be nothing more difficult than just, you know, under agricultural uses, and then it lists conditional uses, A through Q. Just propose a resolution that you add R that says wireless telecommunication facility. Give a definition of that.
Right. And we did that. I was going to look, I mean, again, we can't use our prospective regulations for this evening, but just to kind of get some clarity. I believe that we did put towers, I don't think that's the term we used, into certain districts and not others. And so we did think about, I think we did some thinking around where we thought it was appropriate and where it was not.
Chris, where are you referencing that?
On the planning and zoning page, there's one of the things on the left-hand side of the page is new 2025 proposed zoning and development regulations.
Oh.
So I think what Alan's saying though is that that we could make like an immediate amendment. Am I understanding you correctly?
Well, you have to
Well, we would,
public hearing it.
right, we would have to public hearing it, but that's something that not go through the whole process of what we're going through with regulations, but it's something that we could address immediately, go through the whole public hearing, have just that section to where we are putting it somewhere. Because like I said, I just feel like, I mean, we have 2 of these today, and not that we have a ton of them, but still, it's going to come up.
Well, and we did
And
that
one
with short-term
next week.
rentals. I mean, I think it would be wise to actually complete the chapter on towers. So we have something, development standards around it, and to do what Alan is saying. That would be smart.
Right.
And And it's altogether different than the rest of the editing we're doing.
Right.
It's like short-term rentals, really. It's this thing that
Yeah.
wasn't anticipated in the original regs.
Right. So something that we can just address immediately, if you want to say. Yeah,
Definition
But it's-
immediately.
you gotta-
yeah,
You gotta start somewhere.
yeah. Wishful thinking. Okay, so how do we want to proceed with this application?
But having said what we just said, I think we are in a bind because they do have a right. They've got an application they've put in. It's been legally noticed. We do have the regulations we have, and they do have a right to get an answer. So I think because we're going to have an application after this, and it sounds like we have one next month. So I don't think we can just decide right here and now. We're going to put a moratorium on towers until we figure it all out. So I do
Right.
think we do of these folks something.
Well, it certainly seems reasonable for me to accept this gentleman's offer at 30 feet. It doesn't require a variance in that condition. His neighbor's concerns are somewhat assuaged.
There's a tower already there at 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna replace a wobbly wooden pole. Pretty pole.
So, and it's still a CUP
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Still
because it
correct,
would be a
because
public
it's a
facility.
public facility.
Yeah.
Is your 30-foot tower a, I guess, different design? Or is it something that, if we got our stuff cleaned up and the demand was there, you could come back and add on to 50, like down the road?
Good question.
Thank you.
That is a good question. I have an additional question with that. So this gentleman's concern is more equipment will be added on to the tower. If this is approved, can the add-ons be done without coming to planning and zoning? I'm assuming it can be.
Not the height.
I know, but the
But the
add-ons,
additional
but the additional equipment, if you wanted to lease it out to Union or, because that is a valid concern. And it's something that, once we address it, can that be done? I mean,
Well, so, yeah, that's why I don't move it. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the new equipment is much smaller. And so like the existing tower, you've got bigger, whatever they're called, they're not dishes, radios, thank you.
Bless
And
you.
so with the newer one, even if you had more of them, they're like the equipment's smaller in general. And that's the way it's been trending. You remember when everybody had those big dishes out in their
Satellite
yard?
I
dish.
do.
Yeah, I don't, but
Yeah. I remember smoking days.
it's that.
Sitting by you.
I know.
Okay, so how, if he did make the call to lower this to 30 feet, do we just make that change within?
I think the conditional use could be approved with the condition.
With that
it not
condition.
With that
exceed
condition that it doesn't, okay. He doesn't have to go back through and redo.
30, and then no variance, and
Is that something that you would be interested in, sir? Or do you need to check that with Mr. Louder?
There's no conditional use, and it still requires conditional use, so there's no definition of the use as a public facility. So
Just eliminating the variance, moving it,
Correct.
still have to meet the condition.
it's bad.
Yeah, so conditional uses, the criteria that we consider are whether a special need will be met, including providing new jobs and an expanded economic base. I think That's including, so special need here, I think about what's the public benefit. I think we don't have a great picture of that. It sounds like there's folks that are being served, there's towers that may be serving them. We don't know one way or the other whether folks are getting something that's filling a need or not. The other is whether the proposed location will best serve this interest. I think, we do have some questions around, okay, well, it's a residential lot. It's not a school zone. It's not something that's kind of more lends itself to a bigger, wide open space where folks are not going to be bothered by the aesthetics. General compatibility with the surrounding land values, I think, is similarly sketchy. The other ones are impact on surrounding environment in terms of noise, odor, particular emissions and hazards. I don't see that. Impact on transportation system, that seems fine. Impact on water resources, supply and pollution seems fine. Creativity in the design of the project seems kind of neither here nor there. And general conformity with the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan, not having done a thorough analysis of them, it seems to me that it would likely be largely in conformance with the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. So I don't know, this is my thoughts on kind of the criteria we were asked to consider. I don't know what other folks think, but I'll throw that out there for consideration.
As far as the first one goes, the hard part with, the internet, because it's not going to provide or create jobs, but will it allow people in the area to, work remotely easier, and that sort of abstract, economic, I guess, creation, which is hard to quantify.
I don't disagree with that. It might very well. Maybe it would. We just don't know one way or the other tonight.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's my,
Yeah.
I mean, if we could use the Union Tower to bring, I don't know, it's not in my,
That there's a tower there that you could co-locate with. I know Lance knows about it.
but the thing is, it's hard because I don't know. And it's not one of our considerations either.
States in the code. Action by the planning and zoning commission.
Sir, I'm so sorry. Would you mind coming up? And no, would you mind grabbing a microphone? I'm sorry.
There we go. Madam Commissioner Chad Mitchell, just to address Commissioner Crossan's thoughts. Section C, action by Planning and Zoning Commission. Number 3, the Planning and Zoning Commission may request a review by a qualified person or any public agency that may be interested in the proposed use. So you stating, like, can we co-locate off of the Union Tower? How many people are we going to serve? All of those things. That's within your power to suggest.
Thank you.
I mentioned the criteria. There's 2 findings we ultimately have to make, and if we can't make both of these findings, then we can't vote in favor of this. And those findings are that the proposed location of the use is in accordance with the purposes of this resolution. This resolution means the regulations and the district in which the site is located. So here again, we kind of say, all right, well, this is rural residential. Is the proposed location in accordance with rural residential? I think that we might have varying opinions on that, but worth considering. And then the other is that the proposed location of the use and the conditions under which it would be operated or maintained will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or materially injurious to properties or improvements in the vicinity. So that's where we have to end up. If you can't say yes to both of those things, can't vote in favor. But we can add conditions that would get you there.
Right. Anybody like to make a motion or have any further? This is a hard one. And
Let me ask, I mean, so the aesthetic concerns, is there anything, you showed us what the tower looks like. It looks like the biggest attribute of it is the large solar panels. Is there anything that you can do to make, you mentioned a fence, I imagine, with some sort of green screening or something, or that would kind of blend in to some extent and block the glare of the, are there things that you can do to make it as more aesthetically?
Like I said, with the fence blocking it with the barrier, the side of the solar panels.
Okay.
Solar power.
yeah. Do you have it on your,
It's right there.
Alan, do you have it on your computer?
Jason.
Oh.
Can you pull it up there? Haley, we need technical help. We're gonna see if,
We're gonna pass it around.
okay, perfect.
Alan dropped the.
You can put in place to make it
Sorry.
comply with a residential use without having some sort of
Solar power too.
conditional use for towers and residential. Which I would be fine with if we had it. I just, I don't want to make that call like.
Right.
Oh, okay. So which, is it the one in our packet or is it the one that you showed us that?
It could be either.
That looks,
Like,
I guess that is similar. I don't know, just on the ground.
Yeah.
It's just a different angle to me.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
well, panels are mounted on the,
I'm just not done with it yet.
maybe,
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we do if we want to find out more information about this? If we could get the same type of speeds if they use the Union Tower, is that something? Yes. I'm new. I can claim.
We've always encountered the asking, we have contemplated tabling something in order to ask a public agency for additional information, but we never followed through with that. But we do have the right, as Mr. Mitchell pointed out, or any qualified person. In the past, it's always been like, well, who, a qualified person sounds like a consultant and we don't have any budget, so blah, blah, blah. But in this case, maybe, between LR and Union or whoever owns the tower or whatever, we could inquire with them and they could tell us. So that sounds like that's a feasible path.
Because to me, if we can get the same thing by using a different tower, and I'm not in the business and I don't want to be in the business and I know enough to be dangerous. But is that a legitimate concern with anybody else besides me? Because it is with me.
Yeah, I would get on board with that concern.
so you're saying you want to ask if the Union Tower would service what the LR Tower is trying to do?
Or an alternative. I'm not saying just that tower. Is there another alternative and besides placing this tower in a residential area? So it would be tabled until. the
It's
next
like LR could potentially co-locate on another tower and have as much, if not more, service to people.
Because that other tower is taller and I think it's on. I can't remember if it's higher. I mean, it'd take me 2 seconds to figure it out on topo map. But it's not my area of expertise and I don't know if it's something. If I'm just the only person wanting to know that.
Well, I know for me personally, in the area where I live, we've been told that certain towers should reach us and they don't. You know, and so location, I mean, it seems like it should, you know, the radius, but it doesn't. So
Right, off
location
Bud
is-
Avenue, it's horrible, horrible.
So that, you know, sometimes they can say the radius should reach, but
Mhm.
it just doesn't.
What do you think? They would.
And
know.
that's maybe why, you know, this tower is closer to some of these residences because they're just not able to get the access to that from that tower. You know, maybe.
Well, they have
somewhere else, but-
access, just not fast access.
Right.
Right now.
Yeah, and the burden is on the applicant to bring us the information that makes those findings, and not picking on you, but we don't have that with us tonight. So we really can't say we can't say anything really with any level of certainty about this. So it would make sense. I mean, where we have an absence of information, I think Commissioner Crossan is suggesting we get some information, which sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, until we can get, and if it is an option for them to, even an option for them to co-locate with Union, is that what you were
I just don't
asking
know
as
if it
well?
would just be 30 days. I don't know if that's something that they'd be amenable to.
Well, we could ask the applicant. Is that something you would be amenable to?
Yes, of course. I think that
Okay, I think we could make a request. Alan's thinking, is this more
Nope,
work?
nope.
No.
Look at the clock.
He's looking at the calendar going, is this gonna happen on September 3rd?
I guess
You
it
wanna
would,
make the
it would,
motion?
Alan or Haley, we find ourselves at a low bandwidth time. But
Yeah.
could make an inquiry to, but we actually have someone from Union here tonight, don't we?
That guy's like, nope, I don't make any calls, not up to me.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
That's fair.
okay.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I mean, we might find ourselves that we've made an inquiry, we get information that says, no, they can't locate, or we don't get a response, and then we need to make a call with the information we have, but
Right.
we could do it as a level of diligence.
So I think at this time, sir, we would like to table this. And I apologize. We appreciate you coming in and taking your time. We just need, especially with the public concern, we just need a little more information before we make any kind of a decision on this. So maybe it would be possible, what if, could we come up with kind of a list of things that we're looking for? Would that be the easiest way? And email them?
Well, we need to, yeah, I mean, I think what we need to do is make a motion, and that motion probably needs to include.
Include all of
the-
the,
Well, I mean, it needs to, I probably have the inquiry that we want to get clarity on
correct.
stated as part of it.
Okay. So because there's, the possibility of lowering it to 30 feet, and then the inquiry of
Co-location.
co-location.
I
With the
think
po-
we've got the answer on the 30 feet, right? The applicant has said he's willing to do 30 feet.
Okay, so the possibility of co-location, if that's even an option, and then also, how do you word the,
Better definition.
of the public facilities? I think that's on us, that we have to figure that out.
Yeah, that's not
For the
going to
next-
happen.
And that's not gonna happen.
The other,
Yeah,
the other one was.
with the speeds, like how do you word that?
No, wasn't it? If, like what the reach was from the other, so if co-location's possible and if they achieve the same amount of reach that they're trying to achieve, or if this is a
Reach and speed,
Optimal.
right?
location.
Right.
Okay. So would someone like to make a motion? Yes, ma'am.
I was going to suggest too, maybe even a comparison of both locations.
Oh, that's a good idea.
For the reach and possibly like on a map.
That's a great
Radius
idea.
map,
Yes. I'm a very visual person. Maps
just
are
to
good.
Visualize it.
Okay.
So I'll do.
We'll
my
get
best
this
to-
all wrote down.
I'll do my
for ya.
best at making a motion here.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion that we table this application to be heard at the next meeting, so that we can inquire and further engage with LR Communications and other parties, tower offerers, regarding the possibility of co-location options that would service the same or greater area. Is that more or less get it?
Speeds.
And speeds.
And speeds, yeah. Think so. Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of tabling this until we have some more information and the requested information from LR Communications. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, so thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
We
thank
really
you, sir.
appreciate it. And like I said, if you need any clarifications on kind of what we're asking for, feel free to reach out to the office or reach out to any of us anytime and we can kind of clarify like what it is that we need, that we're looking for. All
Thank you,
right,
sir.
thank you, sir. Have a good night. Okay, moving on to item number 2. Another communication tower. Oh, for hell's sakes, Alan. I guess. All right, we are just going to take a quick, like 5-minute break.
That was
My
the
brain,
longest quick application.
What do I-
my brain is like.
I was
hurting
expecting
right
to be like in and out.
Just.
Haley.
Oh, it's.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
How do I pause it?
The 2 line.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to like mess it up to restart it.
So let's put it in plastic bag. What do you do?
Put my sweater over it.
It's, it's fine.
This is what I'm here for.
I love you. Just giving it easier because last month.
Do you not have a key yet? No.
But no, I mean, this is one of the problems with not having updated regulations. It does a disservice to everybody.
This was my first move that I done.
Oh, really?
So
I helped
spin,
with the
spin
mountain-
some webs
the
and get
Mountain
it.
Museum was my first one. It required a site. They had to provide pictures of like what it was like. It was. That
Well,
was.
then there's another one. Just put it right.
That's a
on
very
top.
prominent one too. That's-
It was.
Yeah.
I think that's
He
where
did
the
very-
code came from.
Yeah.
Just because of that. So. But yeah, then.
Do you still have that code? Do you still have
Oh,
what
the
you wrote?
town still
Yeah.
uses it, I think. Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll look on the
But
town.
it's interesting though, because that one, there is one in the county right next door.
Right.
It's just, and
That's what
where
I-
It was like,
But that's what I don't understand. Do we need that many? Do we need that many? They're not visually appealing.
Talk about me.
Yes, I am, Alan.
One is too many.
Say what?
the door doesn't.
Do you want, here, do you want me to come stand by the door?
No, Chase is in there right
The
now.
door doesn't have a
Oh,
lock.
I'll just open the door.
Okay, thank you.
Come on,
for
I'll-
Correcting.
Yeah, did I hear that are you working with Moyes now? No? What are you up to these days?
I did for a little while.
Oh, you did for a little while?
Yeah.
So are you in the land use business these days or?
No, I run PG.
Okay. Just here to be a engaged citizen?
So Figured I'd be busting the crowd out, honestly. But there's lots of people.
I wish we had more. I love it when people come and talk. And we've got more tonight than usual, actually. Oh.
This is on agricultural ground, so it would not need a variance.
60-foot maximum building height.
Got that going for us next time.
Yeah, this one's a different animal than the last one. I might want to try to hustle and do just the tower chapter and some updating to the current regulations with which districts it fits in. Yeah, I think that would be smart.
You got a few chapters in there under 25 stuff that would be awesome if you.
Under what stuff did you
I
say?
said you got a whole bunch of those chapters that look great. 2025 revisions that would be super.
Just look in there.
How fast can you?
Wait, I can do that. I'll save it.
So.
Except for that we put if we put a definition, I think in the new ones, what we did was we said like antenna / antenna something, like it was not called tower, but we created a definition that was distinct from public facilities.
Right.
I'm just saying.
In the current one, I know. Yeah. Well, this is how we did STRs I mean, you were engaged in the whole STR discussion at the time. Like we didn't have good definitions for STRs either.
Right.
When I came up, I was like, wait, what? It seemed like we were ignoring the regulations at that time. There was a demand from the community to address that needed to be addressed. So
Right.
Alan did a bunch of that great work, terminal stuff.
My only comment is I like wireless communications.
Yeah.
Just because I like the acronym.
WTF.
Oh,
Yes.
good thing wireless.
I know, I was thinking of it too. I'm like,
You've already used all my brain capacity. We need to start this at 6 o'clock in the morning because I am worthless at 6 p.m. No, this room is the worst room ever.
All right. So I would like to call this meeting.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we couldn't figure out how to.
We never stop.
Okay.
So
I hope you didn't say anything bad about me when I was gone.
don't listen to the recording. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, we're gonna
Convene.
I was gonna say adjourn, yeah. We're gonna reconvene this meeting at 7:42. Our next application coming up is the request for a conditional use to allow for a 50-foot communication tower from Union Telephone. This property is down in Big Piney in the Pompy Family Residential Trust property. Alan, would you like to start us out, sir?
Well, it is zone A1. And so the concerns with a variance being required for height are not applicable. Representing union is, Cody Tall or Quintal?
Quintel.
Quintal? Yeah, what do you? Oh, I guess I should let you.
No, you're good. You go ahead, right ahead. You're doing great.
This is a 50-foot tower. Well, I can't speak with services agreement.
So yeah, my name's Cody Quintel. I'm site acquisition specialist for Union Wireless. As Alan mentioned, we're proposing a 50-foot fixed wireless tower on a 25 by 25 leased area. So that would be fenced. This will be a ballasted foundation, so there'll be no ground disturbing activities other than plowing fiber or plowing power from the power pole to our facility. And our goal is to just provide internet access to the residents in the area. And then I actually did provide some coverage maps if you guys want to take a look at these. It'll kind of show a little bit about kind of what we have in the area to start with. You know, so this will be the new tower that's kind of be by itself. But these other pictures kind of represent how it connects to our overall network in the area, kind of providing the fixed wireless. And as you can see, it kind of helps out the overall connectivity to provide to these rural residents. This one, yeah, would be by itself. This one's with both of them, I believe. And then this one would be houses to them.
Can you explain, so what's the color code?
So like the green would be like better service. And then the blue would be, you would still have good service, but not quite as good as if you're directly in these pockets here. The minimum, this is a federally funded program. It's called Connect America Fund. CAP is what they call it. And so this one, it's mandated that it has to be 25.3, but typically you can see it better than that.
This is it now,
This would be the new tower.
the new tower.
Yeah.
So it adds this. This is with both.
Gotcha.
That's the existing, and then this basically adds this. The new tower adds that to
Okay.
that map, right?
All
That's
right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how many more people are being served by that?
Mr. Pompy is actually the landowner. This will be on the property, so he may be able to answer that better than I could.
Because I know there's a group of houses that's where.
Yeah, I could speak to that somewhat. Well, he might be able to do that. This is, this area I'm really familiar with. This is about a mile from my house. I actually went and checked out the property today. And it's not a lot of people it services, but there's a potential to service quite a few. We live to where we don't get any coverage from any existing towers. So we've tried a variety of things, whether it's some people are trying Starlink. This service, there'd be about 12 families that live there now. There is, the possibility of expansion in the future in some of these areas that would go out toward the Guio-Budd Road on the North Piney Cottonwood Guio-Budd Road from the subdivision on. I think this has been a problem for 18 years that we've lived out there, honestly. So there is none. You have to do Starlink, and there's 3 families that do Starlink, which is kind of expensive. This would be, we wish that we could have got something like this sooner, frankly. But there's, I know of 3 different people that work from home. We do a lot of business from home where you need internet. I mean, I know of homeschooling families. Yeah, they go into town, 18 miles into town to try or even you can kind of get into the subdivision, but you'd have to go into town to get any sort of high speed, any sort of internet. There used to be dial up. So anyways, I can see where this is, like I say, not a lot of people, but the possibility to serving a huge amount in an area that was literally one of these depleted areas with nothing.
Do you have any sense of what the affordability of this versus Starlink looks like?
Yes, I know Starlink, that is kind of an issue. You have to buy all the equipment up front. Then you have a monthly fee as well. This would be, we put a dish on your house.
Right. I mean, I have, is it a microwave? Is that how you're
Yeah.
transmitting? Because I mean, that's what I have where I live, and it's, I think we pay like $60 a month or something. Is it, you imagine it's in that vicinity?
Starlink is Pompy.
Right, yeah, it's expensive.
Plus
Sure, at $500 or $600.
initial startup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a bit slow. Can you explain to me you said that it's a ballast system, so there wouldn't be any.
Yeah, so basically, ballast system would be, it's like concrete blocks that would hold the tower down.
Okay.
Typically, we'll dig a foundation, a rebar and everything, and then bolt our towers directly to it. This is a little bit different way of doing it, just it's less ground disturbing.
Gotcha.
So is this a monopole, meaning that like the tower that we looked at before was like, kind of a triangle or a shape, but so there's literally a single pole that you've ballasted it creates stability that you would otherwise need 3 legs to do.
Like, you guys are going down that
Sorry.
road, I'm not sure how familiar you are with it, but there's that subdivision on Guio, I believe. We have one of these towers there, and so it looks exactly similar to that. And there is some drawings, I believe, in that conditional use permit.
Yeah. Co-location, is that something that you'll be supporting with this or no?
So there is an opportunity for it. In those drawings, we have 2 separate bays. Basically, a co-location is like typically the tower owners at the top, and then co-locations. So it would support it, or it could support us for further advancement as technology kind of.
Is that something to your knowledge, does Union do co-location?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just have never.
We do, and then we actually co-locate on other towers as well.
Gotcha.
But we do try to have our own towers.
So this is this just for internet or will it also be used for?
No, this one.
Okay.
And how far in do you have to plow in color?
This area.
So
It's huge.
there? This is the main house, right?
Yeah.
That's the main house.
Walk up there.
Yeah. So basically,
Get you, Ellen, you gotta do pull up. Man.
I think basically the tower would be like right here,
Oh, okay.
a little bit further back, but then if you scroll out, it's a touch.
Too much, Ellen, too much.
I'm trying to see if I can get them hop
There you
up and down.
I believe that's the tower
Weird.
that we're going off of right there.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty cool.
I did have a question. Somebody asked about the cell service versus internet service. Is this a tower that would be able to service both or, in the future to come or just?
I think where our tower is, trying to think what it's called, Big Money East. I think that one will serve that area for cell service. So I think that's kind of the reason that they wouldn't add it to that. Typically, they like to have like a beefier tower, that equipment for the cellular side. So yeah, for this one, it's strictly for internet service.
In the past, we've gotten comment from like Game and Fish on whether it's in an area that needs to be restricted, but for like not crucial winter habitat or anything like that. We do not have anything on that. Just a second. Can we pull up the layer there to see? I don't think we have crucial winter habitat as a layer on there.
Layer would you like?
Well, what do we think? Very well, the layers around wildlife.
The wilderness study area.
Although you said no ground disturbing activity too, right? I mean, that's typically the language that's used on those is no ground disturbing activity, which we
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, and typically with these towers, if you don't go above 50 feet and you don't disturb the ground, you don't have to go through like the NEPA process, the cultural resource process. So that's like another reason these towers are kind of nice for us. And the reason that we kind of look at it, doing ground disturbing activities is to kind of avoid that process because it's very long.
Okay. So I guess that kind of circumnavigates the.
Did we get any public comment on this?
We did not.
Okay.
Well, I'll say, I mean, this just kind of compared to our last application, this seems very different to me for a few reasons. One, we do see that it does serve a need. There is a gap. It offers service to people that don't have it and or at a much more affordable price than is available. And I think it's being in A1, we can see, the difference in proximity to people's houses in a residential area seems very different to me as well. So when we go through this criteria and findings, to me, this looks much more straightforward than that last application.
I agree. And is there anyone in the public? We'll start in the room. Is there anyone in the room that has any questions or comments? Mr. Pompey?
Bring a microphone. Hear you online.
Our comment, I guess, would be, Mike is here too. I know very well all our neighbors have an issue with getting any type of internet at their locations because we're at the top of the hill. We have line of sight in the Marble. We get our internet that way. We used to get it through CenturyLink. They ran fiber optics out to a location on a half a mile from our place, and they had boxes and home things, stuff like that. But it was very slow and unreliable. We now get a radio signal, Arbleton location for LR. We're 10 miles away from that location. Get a decent internet service. I'm familiar with Union Telephone, or Union Communications, with their operations, and the way they do cell towers, internet, stuff like that. And they're a fine company. Do a good job. Reasonable for anybody. This particular location that we're talking about, we have a piece of ground. We're on top of the hill that shoots down into the valley, away from any other signal for our neighbors. That was our main interest, because it was going to help provide. I would say decent. I don't know exactly how much it's going to be for that. We have better internet now than we have with CenturyLink. Trying to get this internet same day. We started out with modems, very, very, very slow. But things with banking, mobile, this. We're looking at the possibility that it's going to improve the application service that our neighbors which will use. The company is them. I used to work for Northwest Pipeline in Williams. I was their communications specialist for Southwest. They used microwave radio. Yeah, they were with technologies, capabilities. They're doing that. We're like, working with Cody. Our technologies step forward. Our son and his son moved into our basement. They live up in Minnesota. Sold their place up there just before the pandemic. And then everything went crazy, so they have a place to live. They use Starlink. It's fine for them. Their son is schooling, but it's expensive. If that is another option, it's expensive. Union would be feasible. Neighbors. This is all we're looking for. Help providing a good service for our neighbors that use and be affordable for them. You know, we do a lot of business through our banking, paying bills and stuff like that through the internet. So the internet is valuable for all of us. It's all agricultural in that area. These people that are in the ag business are using the internet, their business, and build and have an application for agriculture use as well. We see it's a good benefit for our neighbors. Like I say,
Great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that for sure. Is there any questions or comments online? Okay. Don't look like anybody's on there anymore, but Alan?
Just Alan.
Just Alan.
Do you
I
any
have
questions,
one
Alan?
question for Mike and Kathy and for the gentleman with Union. And I'm familiar with what the area is, and with the gentleman before, the application before, aesthetics played a big part. I mean, this is a 50-foot tower. I'm familiar with where it is. It seems like aesthetically, it doesn't really stick out, but how would you know more about where it is, how it will be built? What can you say about the aesthetics of that for the neighbors? I mean, that's a valid concern. There's not many there, but enough where they could be concerned.
in our line of sight, but ours is small. And problem with towers, I've worked with towers for years. The area.
Has Holly, I mean, she hasn't voiced any complaints of it being in her line of sight from her? Okay. Okay.
High quality service. That would be a good benefit to our neighbors to help save money away from the satellite. Shot.
Okay. Thank you.
On that front, what color is the pole?
I believe this one's like kind of like a dull gray. It's like kind of, after a while, it kind of gets weathered, so it's kind of dulls. At first, it's a little bit tiny, but then it, yeah, it just kind of weathers out. Starts to blend in with the.
Blends in good with the same.
Yeah. Okay, are there any other questions or comments? Commissioners?
I guess to the gentleman from Union, if we were, we haven't discussed this, go this route or not, but to ask or condition it on Union entertaining co-location operations with other providers, would that be something you're amenable to?
Oh, yeah, we're absolutely, I mean, that's a big portion of our revenue.
Okay.
I mean, we love people to come on our towers.
Okay, great. Because in the past, we've had some providers say no, and we're not doing that. So that's good to hear.
I mean, it kind of depends on the tower structurally. We have to run a structural analysis, certain towers are not feasible.
And if Union populates the whole thing and fills it up, then so be it. But if we had another application that was right next door, and you guys only had one thing up there, we might say, hey, it makes more sense to co-locate. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, well, if there's no other comments or questions, would someone entertain making a motion of sorts?
Oh, you know what I will say real quick is generally, sorry, when we get a CUP, we are typically, it does state like, this is a CUP for the thing, one of the list of things. I don't think it says that in this, but assumedly it's a public facility. So I just want to just make clear here, as we say here, that, we talked earlier about, public facility isn't really a great definition for this. I think if we approve it under this, that we couldn't then next month, let's say, we look at co-location for the other one. That's not an option for whatever reason. He says he's okay with 30 feet. We can't then have that discussion and decide that point, well, public facility definition doesn't work, right? So we need to be consistent until we have a better definition to work with. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up. I completely agree.
What page are we all on the same one of? Are we calling them public facilities?
Yes.
I think for the time
Okay.
until we specifically address the WTFs, that it falls under a public facility. So, like to make.
No, you looked like you wanted to.
This is a complicated one.
This is a complicated one. So we can do the motion
Cut your
and
teeth.
include the criteria in the thing, correct?
I was just looking for
I have to
past
remember.
language.
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion, see if I can get this right. So having reviewed and considered the 8 criteria for a conditional use permit, I propose that we find 1, that the proposed location of the use is in accordance with the purposes of this resolution and the district in which the site is located, and 2, that the proposed location of the use and the conditions under which it would be operated or maintained will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or materially injurious to properties or improvements in the vicinity. And I move to recommend that the Board of County Commissioners approve this request from Is it from Pompy Family Residential? Yeah. So that's the actual applicant. So from Pompy Family Residential Family Trust, property 68, Guio-Budd 23-153. I'll stop there. Let's see. Requesting a conditional use permit to put up a 50-foot communication tower in collaboration with Union Wireless pursuant to Chapter 2, Section 3I.14D of the Sublette County Zoning and Development Regulations, as presented with the following condition that Union Wireless entertains co-location as opportunities arise and as it makes sense.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor of my brain is dead, of proposing a recommendation for this application, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Perfect. Motion passes. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for coming up and speaking with us. We really appreciate it, for sure. And I'm sorry, the last one went on so long, so you had to stay here for so long, but we really do appreciate. I particularly appreciate when the applicants themselves come in, because I like to see everyone from the county.
Yeah, thanks for the coverage maps too. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it.
And our neighbors.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you guys so much. I know. Okay, is there any other old business? Oh,
I need to speak to him
oh,
just a second. If I can.
yeah, go right ahead. So, not sure where, I guess it would fall under old business. I would like to start scheduling out to get back on track working on regulations. Guess that would fall under old business.
Sure.
So our next meeting is the 18th. Might be a question for Alan. Do you know how much we have on the agenda? Alan, I know you said
150-foot tower.
cell tower.
That's what he's talking
Some
about
kind of
right
tower.
now.
So the 150-foot tower and then the previous, the LR
Right.
tower.
And yes,
Did we legal notice with the whole paper dilemma debacle?
Yes.
Was that,
So
is
because
it in the Rocket Miner?
it's in the rocket miner. Yes, that's where Alan had
I
to
just
post
wondered
it
if
at.
we met our legal notice requirements. Okay.
Yes, because I actually talked to Alan. I just know that for sure because I talked to Alan as he was sending it to the rocket miner.
Great.
So yes,
So nobody saw it.
right.
I had a-
Well, I'm just
Did
glad
they
it was
see in
that
the
one,
roundup?
just that one week.
Been delayed 3 weeks now.
Is that right? Because of that?
Oh, that's horrible.
Aren't they back in action?
Yeah, we got in, or we'll be in,
Okay, good.
I guess, today.
Because you were delayed 2 weeks, just because they didn't
Because
print.
there was no.
Well, yeah, so it was in for the one, like the week that they canceled.
Mhm.
And then the first issue, or that one that they sent out, the requirement for the next paper was Monday, but they were closed on Monday for the deadline or whatever.
Mhm.
So we didn't get in that one. And
Yeah, the one that they send out after the fact does not work for legal notices.
Yeah.
So that really messes everything up.
yeah. Closing delayed like for a month now. Yes.
Okay, so if we have 2 applications basically to go through.
Maybe we, instead of jumping all the way back in, we could talk about towers. I'm
Oh,
feeling really
actually, that's a valid point. Maybe we need to, I would agree with that. Though we need to tackle that first. I'm sorry.
Can I also, I feel like just being new, I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Just being new. I feel like it would be really nice if I could get a little bit of time to update myself on code. But then also, I wouldn't mind listening from you guys as far as what are some of the priorities with the code? Because I think just learning about the history of where I've learned a little bit from different people, but I'd like to hear from the board too about the history of the code rewrites and possibly like how can we move forward, maybe talking about this together. As like maybe we don't need to start all the way over, but like what are sections that people feel confident about? What are sections that need more work? How can we maybe just tackle a little bit at a time? What are some low hanging fruit items? I don't know. I just was thinking maybe trying to revisit the big scope again. I feel like Alan's not in here, so I'm going to bring this up. But I think some people, I've been warned by him. Something that I thought was interesting too with the code rewrite is the comprehensive plan. As far as reviewing the comprehensive plan, is that something that, I know I'm not trying to say we need to do that right now, but I just feel like it'd be nice to maybe look at the big picture, especially with 2 new members on the board. Anyway, sorry, that's my, but if it needs to even be a workshop, do we need to have a workshop that we more look and try to prioritize or try to come up with a strategy?
A strategy of going through the
Going
regulations.
through the regulations.
Well, that's all great points and questions. I mean, yeah, I think it would be good to be strategic and to have a conversation about our approach. I guess I was in that ballpark. I think at one point we were about to start a process that I wasn't totally clear on what we were going to do, which was like, when we did this before, I think we'd do comment, we'd discuss, did edits, came back with red lines, we'd all look at it, we'd discuss, I'd edit based on that, but that was like the process. And then the last time, I don't know, several meetings ago before we had to change up with the board, like there would seem like we were about to, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you're planning on doing, because it was something like voting on all the public comments or something that I wasn't quite clear on what that was.
No, so I think like my thought on the process was just, we were still just getting a lot of public comment. And then that was going to be my next step, is bringing in, basically trying to somewhat summarize a lot of the key comments, a lot of the key things that we had talked about, and then work through the verbiage. And I'm sorry, I don't know. I
think also we were trying to, rather than go through the whole thing and vote on the whole thing and have it be another 2-year process, like voting on, I don't remember if it was like each chapter or something as we completed one, so that we had like something complete that we weren't revisiting again in a year,
right.
Whatever. And that was just, I think, an attempt at actually making some progress versus going out a couple of years, having new board members come on and being like, well, let's go back and just repeating the cycle. But I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it was.
I think that's reasonable. My question was more about like, are we going to be, because what we have right now is a bunch of we have public comment from years ago. We have public comment from weeks/months ago. But we don't have anything concrete in front of us to actually like vote on or like, right. So I guess, the process before was we edited based on comment, brought it to the table and said, do we think this represents what the board wants and what we, adequately represents what we're hearing from the public? And we would have debates and, when it got tough, we'd vote on it. Other times we all just agreed. Yeah, that makes sense. So if we don't have someone authoring it, that's what I'm wondering, like who, then it's going to be very hard to make, because we can't just author by committee. That will take forever.
We have a hard time getting a motion together.
Sorry,
No,
but we
and
do.
and I'm sorry, I guess I thought that's what I was doing.
Oh, you were?
That was
Okay,
my-
I didn't know if that was the plan. Okay.
No, that is the plan, is that I was trying to get together
I'm shy.
all of the public comment, all of the comment, and I know it was a slow process, and I was trying to get in the groove of it and figuring out the best way. But yes, getting all the public comment, getting all the commissioners' comment, coming up like with a basis, and then yes, to vote on it.
Okay. Cool.
Where is all the public comment?
So
I've seen 29 pages of it, but where's all the other comments?
Those are all the written
those
comments.
are all the written comments.
Right.
The verbal comments are all on.
Meeting, you have to go listen to all the
Listen
meetings.
to all the meetings.
I just assumed you tell me what they say.
Well, and that's
I
it.
rely
So
on Chris to
and we have a
remember.
lot, we have the written stuff, and of all the meetings since I've been on the board, I wrote down comments from people, like all the different comments that they've made. So that's what I was gonna include in with all of it moving forward. It's okay, like a general summary, not every single, like, she said this, oh, but she said the same thing, she said the same thing, like, basically, I want to make sure I summarize everyone's comments, consolidate it, yes.
Can I ask, because I'm just curious, Haley, not to put you on the spot, but like, I wasn't there when you interviewed with the commissioners and stuff, but like, I think before we didn't have a staff, and just not derogatory remarks, just facts, like that was going to write the regs. They helped draft, but then we took over. I'm curious, like, is that in your wheelhouse? Is that something that you talked with the commissioners about doing? Like, what's?
I did talk to the commissioners about that, and they asked my opinion about hiring a consultant. I said, why don't we instead see where we're at, evaluate, see what we could do ourselves. I feel like I can help with this. I think it's more transparency and communicating between you and the commissioners. And this could be somewhat of a tedious process, but it also could be talking, I don't know right now as far as the actual process, but I think going back and forth between you guys and the commissioners, trying to stay on the same page, communicating what's being worked on. I am definitely up to helping with this. I think it's more, I just need to understand.
You haven't officially started yet.
And I think to Chase, your comment about adopting one chapter at a time. When you said that, I was like, I agree with what you're saying, but then the problem is if we have following chapters that provide any conflicting information, we might need to try to adopt that restructured code to get rid of some of that conflict.
Yeah, I mean, if there were things like cell towers, for example, that we wanted to adopt, I think that's fine. I think what we had talked about was trying to complete a chapter and vote on it as a complete chapter, not adopting it yet, but like it's complete and we're moving on and we have something that we can
We're not
work
going to
from.
revisit that chapter. Like, okay,
I mean,
this chapter's been voted on.
But if we got to Haley's point, let's say chapter 2, we all vote on, we move on. Chapter 7, we're like, oh, well, that relates to chapter 2. I think we'd all be amenable to, all right, well, let's go change that one thing in chapter 2.
Yeah.
Right? We're not saying we wouldn't touch it.
Right. But just to try to alleviate, for lack of better words, some people beating a dead horse and wanting to keep going back and keep bringing up stuff. Like you said, 100%, if it needs to be addressed, like later on that we find something that we need to go back and address, totally. But I think if we vote on it and move on, we're not going to rediscuss that at a later time unless it's necessary.
It might even make sense once I start going through this, and I was even thinking of each of you provided 3 areas that you thought were priority. Maybe we pick a priority item that's a hard topic, a hard topic, and then we have some low-hanging fruit topics also. So we know we're going to be making progress. But then maybe some things take longer.
My only concern with that is I feel like the people, from what I've heard a lot from the community, is they would really like to have like a good progression and a good direction as to where we're going, because there are certain things that certain people are particularly
Right.
interested in. And then there's things that they aren't. So that would be my only.
But I think we could do both of those things though. If Haley's saying we kind of come up with our approach, as long as we then publish, we're going to talk about these things at these meetings. I think that would address the concern. Is that that you're talking about hearing? Because we definitely, I mean, right. Some people care a lot about one thing and we don't want them coming to 6 meetings hoping it comes up. We want to let them know when it is.
When it is. Yeah.
How often were you meeting about it before? Just, I'm curious.
Usually,
is this like a monthly thing, or did you have more workshops?
We had more workshops. Whenever we started reviewing this, and before, whenever they did it.
Yeah, I think we did a dozen or so workshops. And then a number of regular meetings where we discussed
Okay,
it
so
as
it
well.
was separate, because I feel like adding it on top of the normal meeting and having major discussion after other items, I think could be challenging.
It
relying
depends.
on that.
That's where I always ask, what is,
You don't like staying up till 1 a.m.?
what's on the
Lighting,
agenda?
big lighting.
Because there's sometimes we don't have
This is
anything on
horrible.
the agenda.
Yeah.
And there's been times that we just have one small thing we know isn't gonna take. That's why I always ask what's on the agenda for next month,
Right.
because then we know, is it,
How much room you have.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if it's something that we want to tackle.
Busy agenda next time.
You're on it.
Who's-
Next time to the 150-foot tower and then the LR guy, right? Is there more?
The table guy, the 150-foot tower, conditional use permit for guest ranch, and minor subdivision.
Oh, that's a lot.
Oh,
Jeez.
4? Oh.
Can we get those more than 2 days before the meeting?
Probably. She'll be in shape. eh?
Okay.
So Alan says, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So we definitely don't. Okay, so we need to put it on our,
Sorry, can I ask a quick question? Were those applications were all complete? The
Mhm.
application packets, okay.
okay, so we
Maybe.
got it really full.
Maybe they were. I don't trust him.
So I do think though that we need to put it on our forefront to tackle the cell phone towers. I guess we could just tentatively put it on. I doubt we'll have.
I doubt it. I mean, we could
it
usually we would say this topic if time allows or something.
Right.
And that would, if we did that, that would also give Haley time to come up to speed on everything else, right?
Right.
We could focus, because we all agree we need to do
We
that.
need to focus on that. No, I agree. I think that that's a good idea. So let's put the cell phone towers,
Communication towers.
all the WTFs. Yes,
Hmm,
the communication towers.
I do too.
Yeah, let's put those under, if time allows, agenda. And if not, then
Do we want to do a special meeting? Do we want to schedule a special meeting though to talk specifically about towers?
call,
Because
I
we
would,
probably won't have time at that.
right.
Say we won't have
If you would have
time.
asked me this 2 months ago, I would have said probably not, but
It
now
won't be
all
up
of a
till
sudden
1
I'm
a.m.
feeling a lot of pressure. Holy smokes, because I guess, truthfully, I've only been part of the one communication tower out at Merna. And it was just kind of like this last one was kind of a no-brainer
Mhm.
that, that was a cell phone tower. Yeah, that was a cell
It might be
phone
nice
tower.
if we could do some preliminary research too, before we have a separate meeting.
So it sounds like maybe we don't schedule something now.
Sooner, maybe we don't schedule it sooner than the 18th, but we could schedule something, but it would be, have a little bit of time to gather, maybe for people to be able to review some information ahead of time.
And we don't need to do a special meeting that's we should ask Clayton this. I was gonna say, because we're not making decisions, but we would be making decisions. I don't know if we need to do a 30-day notice or not for the towers. Like if it were a public listening session, they'd only need 7 days, I think, but if we're gonna be making decisions, it probably does need legal notice for 30.
But what if we're not making a decision?
Well,
What
we
if
would
we're
be,
not making
if
a
we're making
decision?
decisions about the chapter though.
Yeah, that's an amendment to the resolution.
Right.
So,
We'll make that.
someone
Yes.
refresh me on
Of course.
what the process is, because we have to have public hearing, right? What is the process to amend the regulations?
Well, we likely wouldn't be making motions. That's the decision making.
Okay.
I think. So if we some miraculously made it through and we were all like, yeah, we got a new chapter, we wouldn't be able to make a motion unless we had proper public notice. We'd have to wait till the next meeting.
So, but how,
There's amendments to the resolution,
okay.
which I think could be some derivative of that.
So amendments may be initiated by the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of County Commissioners or county staff on their own motion, or at the request of any private individual. A public hearing shall be held by the Planning and Zoning Commission after notice in accordance with the Wyoming statute. After which the Planning and Zoning Commission shall certify its recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. So a public hearing, so just a meeting, as long as we publish it, is that correct? A public hearing shall be held by the Board of County Commissioners, notice in accordance with Wyoming statutes. Within 45 days after its hearing, the Board of County Commissioners shall, by resolution of the board, approve or deny the proposed amendments to this resolution. The Planning and Zoning Commission is in making its recommendation, and the Board of County Commissioners in making its decision shall consider the consistency of the proposed amendment with the Sublette County Comprehensive Plan.
And our bylaws say special meetings, when held, shall be in accordance with statute 16-4-404, which I think is public records, that stuff. And then we have something else called a workshop, an assembly held for the purpose of soliciting public engagement and input on planning and zoning issues. No decisions are made by the commission in workshops. So that's not what this is. This would be a special meeting.
But
Either a regular or a special.
Yeah.
I'm a little lost. So you're quite a ways along on a cell tower chapter in the new regs? that you think
There's a
could be-
draft that exists that,
Could be put together pretty quick, or it would take,
I mean, let's see when we get together and talk about it, but probably.
because
Well, I mean, at least we have a base for it.
I was thinking, you look up here, the conditional uses permitted, in your A1 zone and your R. Right now, we've just been using public facilities.
Right.
We could make a resolution, we could have a hearing to recommend a resolution to add R, WTFs, and have a definition of WTF. And then we're not into the,
Yeah, but
square peg.
here, but the problem with that is that, so the document that you sent that says, here's all these counties that have rejected towers and why the rejections didn't stand and were overturned, it's because they didn't have regulations around development standards. Like, so like tonight, if we said, there's an example in there of someone that said, well, this doesn't meet any special need or public need. Now, our conditional use says doesn't meet a special need, but they denied it based on not meeting, there was no coverage need. It was met fine otherwise, but it was overturned because they said, well, that doesn't say in your regulations that it has to meet a coverage need. So I think that there's some danger in doing that. We would have no basis on which to deny an application based on the documentation that you shared, like aesthetics are in there, coverage gaps are in there. Every base, I mean, that seemed to kind of knock out every opportunity to say no if we wanted to say no.
No, the only thing that's gonna resolve is like this gentleman's,
Right.
But if we're gonna do it, I'd rather do it and
Yeah,
be
no,
comprehensive about it.
I don't know how close.
I mean, as much as I want to say WTF a lot.
So I think that that's the thing though, is that if we do have a special meeting and when we can really thoroughly look at all of this, because I mean, I get where you're, that is a easy, quick solution to add it in. But also, like you said, I think it would be a good idea, even if our special meeting doesn't last very long, which would be great.
Yeah.
But.
Well, and I think, in my feeling, in some zones, I think it could just be added in as a conditional use. And in other zones, we probably need to have a lot more information, like residential, for example,
Right.
heavy industrial, I think you should be able to pop one up.
Yes.
That is a good question too, even thinking about like that major subdivision that just from last meeting,
Dirt road or the industrial
not the industrial.
meadows?
The,
Meadows?
yes, as far as, evaluating any sort of coverage, like that's not even something that's required during the subdivision process to review coverage. Because now down the road, if they want to improve coverage in that major subdivision, we're gonna run into this.
Stick it on the water tower.
Anyway, just a thought that like, maybe it's something even for that subdivision process to take a look at it. Okay.
So, I was just reading for special meetings, what the notice requirement is in the state statute, and it's only 8 hours prior. And we can't talk about anything else. It says you can call it.
Oh, right.
It says you have to give notice to each newspaper of general circulation, radio or television station requesting the notice. So I think like Pinedale Roundup had a standing request that I assume still stands. So I think we would let them know, but it says the notice shall specify the time and place of the special meeting and the business to be transacted. It should be issued at least 8 hours prior to the commencement of the meeting. No other business shall be considered at a special meeting.
And then you have to reiterate that at your next meeting. Anything, yeah.
I can get it on the radio, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't even abide by that. They just put it on
captain.
social media and call it good.
Throw it in during
Tomorrow at
smooth
noon.
sailing.
Tune in.
So that gives us some flexibility.
It's great.
We could schedule that at our next meeting. We
That's a
don't
good
need to do
idea.
it now because we don't need 30 days notice.
Right, okay. That's a good idea, because then, who knows, maybe our next meeting will go fast.
Yeah, well, I think it's only fair to Haley too, to like,
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. So we'll,
Excuse me. You schedule what?
if we
All of
decide,
this comprehensive, like what we're doing, the special.
if we agree that we want to do something on a tower, focus on towers, we could do a special meeting where we're just going to work on the towers chapter.
But you'd want something pretty polished up to look at.
Everybody would want to review it beforehand. I mean, we have chapter 15 that's on the website right now.
But we can do that because we have this great thing. It's called email.
Yeah. Don't know what you'll get from me.
okay.
You never do.
So is everyone in agreement then that we will, at the next meeting, we'll decide when to have the special meeting,
I think that makes sense.
just to discuss the cell phones. Give Haley a little time to get her shit together. When it's supposed to
What
cost.
did you just say before that?
What? What?
Does everyone
What's happening?
agree
Yes.
that the next meeting?
We'll decide on a special meeting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I zoned out for a
Yeah.
second. Sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
super. All right, is there any other old business?
Can I make a request? Because I agree with Haley, this room's horrible. Do you think we can meet at the library? Just because it's such a nice facility and people can hear you.
So the
but-
one thing I'll say about the library,
Technology.
the technology is a pain in the butt at the library.
I know how to run it.
It's a lot better actually than this room. I mean, it's
It
more
is.
dependable.
You mean the
Isn't
big
it?
leather
Yeah.
room?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I don't,
Struggled with it. but-
I mean, if we have workshops, we can always do it in the conference room, it's just brighter and this place is so depressing. I'm sorry. It's just my own.
The only thing I'll say is that people are so used to coming here.
I don't know. I just think about it. Just
about it.
maybe we discuss it at the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Maybe we could
sit
suggest
outside.
a remodel.
I mean, do you look at this room?
I'd like to motion that we recommend to the
I mean, look
corporation.
at, seriously, look at this.
Oh, microphones.
I know. Well, that's the other good thing about over there. We would have enough
That is
microphones.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I don't care either way.
Kids up.
but I mean,
Is there,
Just end it.
I know, is there any other general public comment before we close?
Who's guess?
who is that
It's
person?
Sublette County PM.
me.
No, the person to the left of you. I can't see.
DB.
Looks like they're, does it look like they were trying to talk?
Yeah.
Because it looked like someone talking,
It just says DV.
but it looked like there was like an
Yeah,
audio.
it did.
Okay, I saw that blue thing and I was like, what is that? Yeah, I think they were.
Oh,
Guest,
so do we not have their audio?
At the mic. Oh, wait, no, they just muted.
DB, you saying something?
I think their mic might have just been on.
Okay, all right, with that being said, we will adjourn this meeting at 8:38 PM. Thank you all.
thank you.
Thanks.
Still waiting for it getting easier. I was promised it gets easier.
It's supposed to.
That's a cool car.
Reach your house.
Saw it. Is it yours?
Huh?